The alien queen didn't believe humans could breed with her until it happened. Ethan Cole had never seen a world like Valara. The sky glowed with colors he could not name, shifting from deep purple to soft green, and strange winds carried a scent that was almost sweet but had a sharp bite. The ground beneath his boots was soft, like living sand, and it seemed to pulse lightly with every step. He walked carefully, trying to take in everything at once, but it was impossible. Everything on Valara was bigger, stranger, and older than anything he had known on Earth. He had come as a human envoy, sent by the Council of Planets to meet Queen Lixara, ruler of the Valari. He knew humans were small and weak compared to the Valari, and yet he felt a spark of pride. Humans had survived against incredible odds, and he carried that pride quietly, like a shield. He had trained for this moment for months, but no training could prepare him for the strange beauty and danger of the Queen's world. The palace rose before him like a mountain of crystal and light. Its towers twisted high into the sky, sharp and smooth at the same time, reflecting colors that made Ethan's head spin. Valeric guards watched him silently from the walls, tall and thin with skin that shimmered like glass. Their eyes were large and dark, intelligent and cold. Ethan tried not to look too nervous. He had to show confidence, even though every instinct in his body told him to run. A soft voice came through the communicator in his helmet. "Ethan, remember, your goal is to speak with the Queen, not to challenge her. Stay calm." It was Commander Dale, his superior on Earth, but his voice felt small here, like it belonged to another world. Ethan took a deep breath. He needed more than calm. He needed courage. As he entered the palace, the walls seemed to shift and breathe. Strange symbols moved across the surface, glowing faintly before disappearing. The floor felt alive, giving slightly under his weight. He could hear distant whispers, though no one was around. He forced himself to focus. Every step brought him closer to the Queen, closer to the moment that could decide the fate of his people. Lixara's throne room was enormous. The ceiling was so high that Ethan could not see it clearly, and the walls were covered with glowing vines that moved as if they were watching him. The Queen herself stood at the far end, taller than any human, her skin pale with a soft shimmer. Her eyes were golden and sharp, piercing right through him. She looked as if she could see every thought, every fear, every hope he had. "You are the human envoy," she said, her voice smooth and deep. It filled the room and seemed to vibrate in Ethan's chest. "I did not expect you to survive the journey. Humans are fragile, yet here you are." Ethan bowed politely, trying not to show his fear. "I have come to speak on behalf of Earth and the Council of Planets, Your Majesty," he said, his voice steady, even though his heart raced. "We wish to discuss peace and cooperation between our worlds." Lixara laughed softly. It was musical, but there was a cold edge to it. "Peace?" she asked. "Humans do not understand our ways." "You are weak, fleeting. Your bodies cannot even match ours. The idea that a human could stand equal with the Valeri is amusing." Ethan held his ground. He had expected skepticism, even ridicule, but he did not flinch. "Strength is not only in size or speed, Your Majesty," he said carefully. "Humans survive where others fail. We find ways to adapt. That is our strength!" The Queen's golden eyes narrowed. She stepped closer, and Ethan could feel the power radiating from her. It was not just physical, it was authority, intelligence, and something he could not name. She leaned slightly forward, her voice dropping to a whisper that seemed to echo in his mind. "You think your kind is special? You think humans could something with me? You think your blood could ever mix with mine?" She laughed again, this time louder, a sound that made the walls tremble. "Ridiculous!" Ethan swallowed hard. He had expected her to doubt him, but not to insult him. Yet he forced a smile, calm and respectful. "Perhaps what seems impossible to you is not impossible to the universe," he said. He did not know if she would believe him, but he could not show fear or weakness. He could only speak the truth he knew. Humans were survivors, and survival sometimes meant doing what no one else could imagine. The queen stared at him for a long moment, silent. Then she waved a hand, and Valari's scientists appeared, their bodies slim and glowing faintly. They carried instruments that hummed softly, scanning Ethan from head to toe. He felt the probes touch him lightly, but he did not move. He had been trained for this, but every touch reminded him how different he was, how alien this world truly was. The lead scientist spoke in a soft, musical voice. "Queen Lixara, the readings are as expected. Human biology is incompatible with Valeri physiology. No hybridization is possible." He paused. "We see no potential for interaction that could produce offspring." Lixara turned her gaze back to Ethan. Her expression was one of disbelief and amusement. "See, human? Even my scientists laugh at the idea. You could never hope to be equal to me in this way. Your kind is small, weak, mortal." She smiled, but it was not warm. It was sharp, like a blade. "And yet, here you are, standing before me, thinking you might achieve something extraordinary." Ethan felt a chill, but he did not bow his head. He had come too far to be afraid. "I do not claim to be equal," he said quietly. "But I do believe the universe has ways we cannot yet understand. Humans have survived wars, disasters, and worlds that could destroy us. Maybe some things are impossible only until they happen." Lixara studied him for a long moment, her golden eyes narrowing. Ethan felt as if she were reading not just his thoughts, but the very core of him. Then she shook her head slowly. "Your words are bold. Your courage remarkable. Yet you are still human. Fragile. Temporary. My people will never accept what you suggest." Despite her words, Ethan felt something shift in the room. He could not name it, but the queen's attention lingered on him longer than was polite. He wondered if she truly saw the spark of determination that humans carried, the quiet fire that could survive even when all else failed. Days passed, and Ethan remained on Velara. He met scientists, scholars, and other nobles, all of whom treated him as a curiosity. He endured tests, scans, and examinations, always calm, always careful. He learned to read the subtle language of the Valari, noticing the small changes in their expressions, the way they moved, the quiet patterns that spoke more than words. He found small allies, verily who admired human persistence, and he shared stories of Earth, of humanity's struggles and triumphs, of how people survived against impossible odds. Queen Lixara watched all of this with growing interest. She did not show it, but she observed Ethan closely. He did not seek power. He did not beg for favor. He only spoke truth and lived as he could. She found herself wondering, a thought she quickly dismissed. Could humans really be more than they appeared? One evening she summoned him again. He entered her private chamber, a smaller room filled with light that shimmered like liquid. She was sitting on a low platform, her golden eyes fixed on him. "Human," she said, her voice softer now, almost curious. "You have survived longer than I expected." "You have endured what no other human could. You speak of courage, of adaptation, of surviving the impossible. Tell me, do you truly believe your kind could stand with us, even in ways we consider forbidden?" Ethan took a deep breath. He did not lie. "I do, Your Majesty. Humans may be small, but we endure. We change, we survive, and we learn. We find ways to do what others cannot. I do not claim to be equal in strength or power, but I believe humans can achieve what others think is impossible." Lixara studied him in silence, and Ethan felt the weight of her gaze. For the first time, he thought he saw a flicker of doubt in her eyes, a crack in the armor of disbelief. It was tiny, almost invisible, but it was there. That night, as he lay in a guest chamber, Ethan thought about what had just happened. He had spoken truth, he had faced disbelief and ridicule, and he had survived. He knew the days ahead would be even harder. Queen Lixara did not trust humans, and her people saw them as weak. Yet he also knew that sometimes the universe rewarded courage and persistence. Sometimes impossible things happened, and somewhere deep inside, he felt the faintest glimmer of hope that one day the Queen's disbelief might turn into something else. He did not know what it would be, only that the journey had begun. The first step had been taken, and Ethan Cole, human envoy, would not falter. As Valara slept under the shifting sky, the palace pulsed with quiet energy. Somewhere, deep in the halls, the Queen wondered if she had underestimated the small human who dared to stand before her. She could not know what the future held, only that the impossible had started to enter her thoughts. The universe was watching, and so was Ethan Cole. Ethan Cole had been on Valara for nearly a week. Each day brought new challenges, new tests, and new eyes watching him closely. "This is only the beginning," Lixara said softly. "We have witnessed the impossible, human. Now we must ensure it thrives. The universe has given us a chance to change everything. We cannot waste it." Ethan nodded, his heart filled with determination. "We will protect it, Your Majesty. We will endure, adapt, and survive. Humanity has always done so. And now, we have something greater than survival. We have hope, and we have life itself." As Valara slept under its glowing sky, the palace pulsed softly with energy. A new life had begun. Fragile, but strong. The universe had shifted quietly, responding to courage, endurance, and the impossible. Humans, once dismissed as weak, had proven that they could survive, adapt, and change the galaxy in ways no one had imagined. Queen Lixara and Ethan Cole stood together, watching the hybrid child sleep peacefully in their arms. The impossible had happened. The galaxy had witnessed the first proof that humans could endure beyond expectation, and that life itself could respond to courage, hope, and determination. And somewhere in the universe, quietly but undeniably, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, acknowledging the small human who had dared to survive, adapt, and change the course of life itself. The impossible was real, the hybrid was alive, and humanity had finally earned its place among the stars. A minor cut on his hand closed overnight, leaving no scar. His stamina lasted longer, and he felt stronger in ways he could not explain. Even the Valerid guards seemed to notice, giving him quick glances that flickered with confusion and curiosity. Scientists continued their tests, but now their reports began to show anomalies. Readings that had once been clear now seemed strange. One technician, a young Valari named Soren, whispered to Ethan once during a scan, "Your biology, it is changing. We do not understand why." Ethan nodded slightly, unsure what to say. He could not explain it either, only that he felt different, like the very air of Valara was waking something inside him. Queen Lixara herself grew more interested. She began visiting him quietly, sometimes just to speak, other times to observe him in private. She asked him questions about Earth, about human history, about how humans survived wars, disasters, and disease. Ethan answered honestly, telling stories of courage, failure, and triumph. He did not speak to impress her. He spoke because it was the truth. One evening, Lixara invited him to walk with her outside the palace. The sky glowed with soft greens and purples, the winds carrying the scent of flowers he had never smelled before. They walked in silence at first, listening to the gentle hum of Valara's natural energy. "Human," Lixara said finally, "I do not understand your kind. You are small, fragile, and yet you endure. Every test, every trial, you survive. Sometimes it is as if the universe itself protects you." Ethan shook his head slightly. "I do not know about protection, Your Majesty. Humans survive because we keep trying, even when it seems hopeless. We fail, we get hurt, we learn, and we try again. Perhaps that is why we endure." Lixara studied him closely. "And yet," she said softly, "there is something else. Your body, it seems to react to Valara differently than any human should." "Your energy. It harmonizes with this world. It is remarkable. Ethan felt a mixture of pride and caution. He knew that to be remarkable on Valara could be dangerous. Jealousy and fear were strong among the Valeri, and showing too much could make him a target. Yet he could not hide what he felt. "I do not know why," he said honestly. "I only know that I feel stronger here. I feel more alive." The Queen nodded slowly. She did not speak for a long time, her golden eyes distant, thoughtful. Ethan sensed she was thinking deeply about something, perhaps considering possibilities that had never entered her mind before. As the days went on, the changes in Ethan became more noticeable. A Valeri guard named Rima, who had been skeptical of humans from the start, whispered to Soren one day, "Look at him. He moves with power, yet he is human. It makes no sense." Soren nodded. "It is as if he is evolving. Something is happening to him here." Ethan noticed the stares, but said nothing. He focused on his training, his conversations with the Queen, and the endless tests. He wanted to learn, to survive, and to understand this strange world as best he could. One night the Queen called him again, but this time the mood was different. She did not summon him with formality. Instead, she appeared in the observation chamber, her expression unreadable. "Human," she said softly. "I have observed you for many days now. Your body changes, your mind adapts, and yet you are still human. Tell me, do you understand the power of this?" Ethan shook his head slowly. "I do not, Your Majesty. I feel different, but I do not know why. I only know that I survive, and that I continue to endure." Lixara stepped closer, her golden eyes searching his. "This is extraordinary. No human has ever come close to this. Your energy, your adaptability. It defies everything Valari science has taught us. It is impossible." Ethan met her gaze steadily. "Perhaps the universe allows some things that seem impossible, Your Majesty. Perhaps survival is more than just strength or biology. Perhaps it is determination, courage, and the will to keep going, no matter the odds." The Queen's expression softened slightly, though she did not let her surprise show completely. She turned and gestured for him to follow. Together they walked through the palace gardens, where glowing plants illuminated the night. The air was warmer here, and Ethan felt a strange sense of calm and connection, as if the world itself was acknowledging him. "Human," Lixara said finally. "If what I see continues, you may change the way we understand life itself. This is dangerous, but it is fascinating. I do not know where this path will lead, but I am curious to see it." Ethan nodded. He did not know what would happen either, but he knew that he could not turn back. He had come to Valara to survive, to represent humanity, and to learn. Now, he realized that he might do something far greater than survive. He might change the understanding of life itself. As the nights passed, Ethan continued to experience strange changes. His senses became sharper, his reflexes quicker, and his mind more alert. He could anticipate danger before it came, understand Valari language more clearly, and sensed the subtle shifts in the palace's energy. Even the Queen began to ask him questions about his thoughts, his feelings, and his reactions. One afternoon during a private meeting, Lixara asked him about human relationships, about bonds that went beyond survival. Ethan spoke honestly, describing loyalty, love, and connection. He told her how humans relied on each other not just for survival, but for strength of heart and mind. The Queen listened silently, her golden eyes fixed on him. She had not expected to be interested in human emotions, but Ethan's words touched something deep within her. She realized that humans were not just fragile creatures. They were resilient, adaptive, and capable of forms of strength that Valeri could not fully understand. As the week ended, the scientists grew increasingly confused. Every new test showed small but undeniable signs of change. Ethan's body was responding to Valara in ways that should have been impossible. The Queen's advisors whispered among themselves, worried that something unprecedented was occurring. Ethan knew that he had to remain careful. He could not let fear, doubt, or curiosity become weakness. Yet he also felt a strange sense of purpose, as if Velara itself was guiding him, preparing him for something he could not yet see. And somewhere, deep in the palace, Queen Lixara watched him with a mixture of disbelief, curiosity, and something she had never expected: hope. The impossible had begun, and the first signs of change were clear. Ethan Cole, the human, was surviving, and he might be capable of far more than anyone had imagined. The universe had begun to shift, quietly and slowly, around a single human who refused to give up. Ethan Cole had spent almost 2 weeks on Velara, and each day brought more strange and unexpected changes. His body had become stronger, faster, and more aware, and the scientists could no longer deny it. Readings that had once been impossible were now undeniable. Somewhere deep inside, a force seemed to awaken, something that neither human nor Valeri science could explain. Ethan himself did not fully understand it, but he felt it in every movement, every thought, every breath. One morning, Queen Lixara summoned him to the Grand Observation Hall. Sunlight, or what passed for sunlight on Velara, glinted off the crystalline walls. She sat on a low platform, her golden eyes fixed on him. She did not rise to greet him, yet Ethan felt a weight of attention he had never experienced before. "Human," she said, her voice calm but carrying a strange tension. "Your body, your presence, it is unlike anything I have ever seen. You continue to survive in ways that defy every expectation. The scientists are baffled, and I do not know what to make of it." Ethan bowed respectfully. "I do not know either, Your Majesty. I only know that I feel stronger here. I feel alive in ways I cannot explain. I think I am changing." Lixara's lips pressed into a thin line. She had studied the data herself. Readings showed subtle shifts in his biology, signals that suggested compatibility with Velari life forms, something the Queen had thought impossible. "You may be the first human ever capable of what no one else has achieved. It is incredible and dangerous." Ethan nodded slowly. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will do my best to remain careful, but I cannot ignore what is happening. It feels like the universe is giving me a chance to survive, and maybe more than that." Over the next few days, Velari scientists observed Ethan more closely than ever. They performed tests that stretched from dawn to night, trying to understand how a human could survive and adapt so quickly. Some of the younger scientists began whispering among themselves, calling him a miracle, while older ones muttered about defiance of natural law. Ethan endured everything without complaint. He had learned to control his fear, to focus on the present, and to trust his instincts. He felt the changes in his body more clearly now. His senses were sharper. He could see faint energy fields that shimmered around Velari structures, hear the slightest shifts in the palace walls, and sense the mood of the Queen and her advisors even before they spoke. One afternoon, he was walking through the palace gardens when a young Valeri named Soren approached him quietly. "Human," he whispered, glancing around to make sure no one was listening. "Something is happening to you. It is not natural. The Queen watches you more than any human has ever been watched. She fears you, and yet she is fascinated." Ethan nodded. "I feel it too. I do not understand it fully, but it is happening. Something is changing inside me. Something that no one expects." Soren's eyes widened. "If the Council learns of this, they will act. They will see you as a threat. Even the Queen may not protect you if they fear what you are becoming." Ethan's face grew serious. "I will survive, Soren. That is what humans do. We survive. We adapt. We endure. No matter what happens, I will not give up." That evening, Queen Lixara summoned him again. She did not speak immediately. Instead, she walked slowly among the glowing plants of the palace gardens, her golden eyes fixed on him. Ethan followed quietly, sensing the tension in the air. "Human," she said finally, stopping near a pool of softly glowing water. "I have studied you for many days. Your body, your energy, it is unlike any human I have ever known. My scientists say it is impossible, yet here you are. Alive, changing, adapting, and, perhaps, capable of what no other human could achieve." Ethan swallowed. He knew that the Queen's words were a mixture of awe, fear, and curiosity. "I do not know if I am capable, Your Majesty. I only know that I survive, and that I continue to endure. I feel like I am connected to this world in ways I cannot explain." Lixara's expression softened slightly, though her golden eyes remained sharp. "Connection, yes. It is more than survival. It is resonance. Your energy, it aligns with Valeri life. It is extraordinary. If this continues, the impossible may happen. The universe itself may bend in ways we cannot predict." Ethan felt a thrill run through him. He did not fully understand what she meant, but he sensed that something extraordinary was about to happen. He felt a power inside him, subtle but growing, something that made him faster, stronger, and more aware. Over the following days, the palace was filled with tension. Whispers of the human who defied biology spread quietly among the scientists and guards. Some feared him, others admired him. Queen Lixara observed everything, sometimes silently, sometimes speaking softly to Ethan about his progress, about the changes she saw in him. One night during a private meeting, Lixara asked him about human reproduction and compatibility, something no one had dared discuss before. Ethan answered honestly, speaking in simple, clear words. He described how humans adapted, how biology was not always fixed, and how survival sometimes required forms of connection that others could not imagine. The Queen listened carefully, her golden eyes narrowing as she processed every word. She could not deny the strange patterns she was observing. The human before her was changing in ways that challenged everything she knew about Valeri biology, everything she believed possible. "Human," she said finally, her voice quiet but intense. "If what I see is true, you may be capable of something no one has ever done. Something forbidden, something unimaginable. And yet, you live. You endure. You change. Perhaps the universe itself intends to test what is possible through you." Ethan felt a mix of fear and determination. He did not know what the future held, but he knew one thing clearly. He would survive no matter what. He had faced impossible odds before, and he would face them again. As days turned into nights, the changes in Ethan became more visible. Valeri scientists noted that his cells were interacting with Valeri energy fields in ways that no human had ever done. His strength, speed, and senses were increasing at a remarkable pace. Queen Lixara began to pay more attention, sometimes visiting him alone to observe, to speak, or simply to watch him move. One morning, a disturbance in the palace drew Ethan and the Queen to the central hall. A group of Valeri nobles had gathered, whispering urgently among themselves. They had learned of Ethan's changes and were alarmed. Some demanded that he be removed from the palace. Others called for immediate study, fearing that he might become a threat. Lixara stepped forward, her presence commanding silence. Her golden eyes fixed on the nobles. "This human," she said, "is not a threat. He survives. He adapts. He endures. What you see as impossible is remarkable. It is a reminder that even we, ancient and powerful, are not the only ones capable of evolution. Your fear blinds you to what is extraordinary." The nobles hesitated, some bowing reluctantly. Ethan felt a quiet respect for the Queen. She had risked her authority to protect him, to acknowledge the truth even when it was uncomfortable. Later, as he walked through the gardens, Soren approached him again. "Human, they will watch you even more closely now. Some fear you, some admire you. But the Queen, she believes in you. That is more than most humans could hope for. Ethan nodded. I will do what I must to survive, Soren. I will endure, and I will learn. No matter what happens, I will not give up. As the sun set over Valara, casting long shadows across the palace gardens, Ethan felt the strange energy within him growing stronger. He did not know what it meant yet, only that the impossible was beginning to become real. Queen Lixara watched him from a distance, her mind racing. The human was not like any other she had known. His body, his mind, his very presence challenged the beliefs of her people. And yet, there was something undeniable in him, something that made her wonder if perhaps the impossible could truly happen. The universe was shifting quietly, imperceptibly, around a single human who refused to be limited by expectation. Ethan Cole was no longer just a visitor. He was a force of change, and the first signs of the impossible were beginning to show. The palace lights flickered softly, and the winds carried the scent of Valara's strange flowers. Somewhere, deep in the halls, Queen Lixara whispered to herself, "Perhaps humans are more than we have ever known. Perhaps this one will change everything." And Ethan, unaware of the full extent of the attention he commanded, continued to walk, to observe and to endure, feeling the subtle power inside him grow, a quiet promise of things yet to come. Ethan Cole had been on Valara for nearly a month, and the changes in him had become undeniable. The Valeri scientists could no longer hide their astonishment. His body had adapted to Valeri's energy. His senses had sharpened, and subtle signals in his biology suggested something no one had thought possible. Compatibility with Valeri lifeforms. Queen Lixara watched him constantly, her golden eyes a mix of disbelief, curiosity, and something that frightened even her. Hope. The day began quietly, with Ethan walking through the palace gardens. The strange light of Valara shimmered off the leaves, casting soft green and purple shadows across the paths. He could feel the energy of the world pulsing under his feet, and he sensed that something was different today. It was subtle, like a vibration in the air, but it made his heart beat faster. "Human," Lixara's voice called from behind him. Ethan turned to see the queen walking slowly toward him. Her face was serious, her golden eyes focused. "Today, we may see what I never thought possible." Ethan nodded, a mixture of anticipation and caution in his chest. "I am ready, Your Majesty," he said. He did not know what she meant, only that whatever was about to happen could change everything. They walked together into a private chamber, one reserved for the Queen's most sensitive experiments. Soft lights glowed across the walls, and strange instruments hummed quietly. The Valeri scientists were already there, standing in silence as they watched. The air was thick with tension. "Human," Lixara said. "Your body has adapted beyond anything we expected. The scientists have recorded changes that should not be possible. It is time to see if what we fear and what we hope can truly occur." Ethan felt a sudden chill. He had sensed the changes, felt them deep inside, but now it was real. The moment of truth had arrived. He stood tall, his hands steady, even though his heart raced. He had survived impossible odds before, but this was different. This was not a test of endurance. It was a test of life itself. The scientists moved closer, instruments in hand. They scanned Ethan's body, noting the subtle changes in his cells, his energy fields, and his biological patterns. Lixara observed quietly, her expression unreadable, yet her golden eyes betrayed her intense focus. "Ethan Cole," she said softly, "do you understand what is about to happen?" He nodded. "I understand that it may be impossible. But I trust you, Your Majesty. I will endure whatever comes." The Queen studied him for a long moment. Then she reached out, placing a hand lightly on his shoulder. The energy from her body flowed into him, and Ethan felt a warmth unlike anything he had ever known. It was not just heat, it was life itself, A connection that pulsed deep inside him, touching something primal and powerful. The scientist began recording. The instruments hummed and glowed, detecting the merging of human and Valeri energy. Ethan could feel his body responding, shifting, adapting in real time. Every cell, every fiber of his being was alive with change. He could hear the faintest whispers of the palace, feel the movement of air and light as if the world itself was aware of him. Queen, one of the senior scientists, whispered nervously, This is unprecedented. If it continues, we may witness something extraordinary." Lixara's golden eyes did not leave Ethan. "Extraordinary, or forbidden," she said softly. "We are stepping into the unknown." Ethan felt a surge of energy unlike anything he had experienced before. It was strange, powerful, and frightening. He felt the boundaries of his human body stretch, his mind expanding to perceive subtle patterns and energies he had never noticed. He could sense the palace itself, the guards, the scientists, even the Queen's heartbeat. Then, something shifted. A spark, small at first, and then growing, as if his biology had unlocked a door that no human had ever opened. Lixara gasped softly, taking a step back, her golden eyes wide. The energy flowing through Ethan began to resonate with hers, and he felt a connection that went beyond thought, beyond language. "Ethan," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. I cannot believe it. The impossible. It is happening." The scientists watched in stunned silence. Their instruments recorded phenomena they could not explain. The merging of human and Valeri energy was unprecedented, defying every law they had studied. The room hummed with a strange vibration, soft at first, and then growing stronger. The air felt alive, crackling with power. Ethan's body shivered as he felt the connection deepen. He was aware of Lixara in a way he had never imagined possible. And yet it was not just her. He could feel the resonance of Lara itself, the energy of the planet, the subtle rhythms of life that had gone unnoticed by generations of Valeri. It was overwhelming, but he did not fear it. He embraced it, letting it flow through him. Then it happened. The energy inside him surged, forming a bond with Lixara that was undeniable. He felt a pulse of life, a spark of creation, and a warmth that filled every part of him. He realized with a shock that made his heart leap that the impossible was true. Human and Valeri compatibility had begun. Life had responded to his presence in ways that no one had thought possible. Lixara stepped closer, her golden eyes wide with disbelief and awe. It cannot be," she whispered. "Humans capable of this? With me?" Ethan felt a quiet calm inside him, a certainty he had never known. "It is happening," he said softly. "I do not know why, but it is real. Something impossible has become possible." The room was silent except for the hum of instruments and the soft crackle of energy. The scientists were stunned, some trembling with excitement, others with fear. This was not just a breakthrough. It was a revolution in understanding. The universe itself had defied expectation through one human. As the energy pulsed and flowed, Ethan felt the first signs of life forming in a way that had never been seen. The bond with Lixara was creating something new, fragile, yet undeniably real. It was not just adaptation, it was creation itself, a spark that might lead to a new life. Lixara gasped softly, her hand trembling as it rested on Ethan's arm. I cannot believe this," she said. "It is impossible. And yet, it is real. Life is responding. Something is forming." Ethan felt a rush of emotion, fear and wonder mixing inside him. He had faced impossible odds before, but this was beyond survival. This was creation, the very essence of life unfolding in ways he could not fully comprehend. He took a deep breath, grounding himself in the moment, letting the energy flow through him without fear. The scientists began taking careful notes, their voices hushed. They recorded every fluctuation, every pulse, every spark of life. Even the most skeptical among them could not deny what they were witnessing. Human and Valeri energy, merging and forming the impossible. Lixara stood close to Ethan, her golden eyes never leaving his. She felt the bond growing stronger, a connection deeper than she had ever experienced. She realized with a mixture of awe and fear that this moment would change everything. The impossible had become real, and she was a part of it. Ethan felt the life forming between them, fragile but strong, a spark that could grow into something incredible. He did not fully understand it, only that it was real, and that it was happening because he had survived, endured, and adapted. The room seemed to hold its breath. Outside, Valara's winds whispered softly, carrying the scent of strange flowers and the energy of life itself. Inside, Queen Lixara and Ethan Cole stood together, witnessing the impossible unfold. Then, as if the universe itself had acknowledged the moment, the bond stabilized. The energy became steady, flowing smoothly between human and Valeri. Ethan felt a quiet certainty, a calm that filled him completely. Life had responded, and the first step towards something extraordinary had been taken. Lixara took a step back, her expression a mixture of awe and disbelief. "It is real," she whispered. "The impossible has happened. Humans capable of life with Valeri. I never thought it possible." Ethan nodded slowly. "It is real, Your Majesty. We have survived. And we have created something new. I do not know what comes next, but this is proof that anything is possible." The scientists slowly relaxed, recording their data carefully. Some smiled, some stared in shock, and some whispered prayers or expressions of disbelief. The room was alive with a quiet energy, a sense that the universe itself had shifted in this moment. Queen Lixara looked at Ethan, her golden eyes softening. "You, human, you have done what no one thought possible. You have changed everything. And yet, I sense there is more to come." Ethan felt a surge of hope. He had survived the impossible, endured the unimaginable, and now witnessed life forming in a way that no one had ever seen. The universe had responded to him, and he knew that the next steps would be even more challenging. But he also knew this: humans could endure, adapt, and create what others thought impossible. The palace seemed to breathe around them, the walls glowing softly, the energy of Valara resonating with the new life forming between human and Valeri. Ethan Cole had become more than a visitor. He had become a force of change, a spark that might redefine the boundaries of life itself. And Queen Lixara, standing beside him, realized with a mixture of awe and fear that nothing would ever be the same. Weeks had passed since the impossible bond had formed between Ethan Cole and Queen Lixara. The palace was tense but alive with anticipation. Valeri scientists monitored every signal, every pulse, every movement, yet no one could fully predict what would come next. Outside the palace walls, whispers spread through Valeri society. Nobles debated in hushed tones, some fearful, some in awe. The Council of Elders had convened secretly, questioning the Queen's judgment and wondering what humanity could now mean to their species. Ethan moved carefully through the palace corridors, feeling the subtle hum of Valara beneath his feet. He could sense the energy growing stronger, a quiet vibration that filled him with both wonder and responsibility. He had survived the impossible once before, but now the stakes were higher. This was not just survival. It was the creation of something new, fragile, and powerful. Queen Lixara met him in the palace gardens. The soft glow of Valara's sky bathed her in purple and green light. Her golden eyes were softer than usual, yet intense, filled with a mixture of awe and concern. "Ethan," she said quietly, "the time is near. We will see the results of what we began. This child, our bond, it will change everything." "Are you ready?" Ethan nodded slowly. "I am ready, Your Majesty. Whatever happens, I will face it. I have survived impossible odds before. I will not fail now." The Queen reached out, taking his hand gently. The energy that had flowed between them before hummed softly, now steady and calm, yet filled with quiet power. Ethan could feel it inside him, a spark of life that pulsed in rhythm with hers. It was as if Velara itself waited with them, holding its breath. The palace chamber prepared for the event was silent, lit with soft glowing panels. Valari scientists stood nearby, their expressions a mixture of fear, wonder, and awe. Even the most cautious among them could not hide their excitement. They had never seen life forming like this before, and they knew history was unfolding. Sarah guided Ethan to a raised platform in the center of the chamber. The energy between them intensified, a soft vibration that hummed through the air. Ethan could feel his body responding naturally, his human strength harmonizing with the Valeri energy he had absorbed. He could sense every subtle pulse of the Queen, every beat of life flowing toward the moment that was about to arrive. "Human," Lixara said softly, her voice steady despite the tension. "We are about to witness the impossible come to life. This is no longer theory, no longer observation. Life itself will respond to us. Remember, courage, trust, and endurance. These brought us here. Do not fear." Ethan took a deep breath, centering himself. He felt the hum of Valara beneath his feet, the flow of energy within him, and the bond he shared with the Queen. He had endured the impossible before. He would endure this. He would see it through. Slowly, the energy began to rise between them, glowing faintly at first, then brighter. Valari scientists recorded everything, their instruments vibrating softly as the life energy built. Ethan could feel it growing inside him. An undeniable presence, fragile yet powerful. He sensed the formation of something new, something that had never existed before. Then, it happened. The spark of life solidified into a form small and delicate, yet undeniably real. Ethan felt it, Lixara felt it, and even the palace seemed to recognize the event. It was a child, a hybrid of human and Valeri life, fragile, perfect, and alive. Lixara gasped softly, her hand covering her mouth. It is real," she whispered, tears forming in her golden eyes. "The impossible has come to life. A human capable of creating life with a Valari. I never imagined it possible." Ethan knelt beside her, awe and emotion filling him. "It is real, Your Majesty," he said quietly. "We did this. We survived. We created life. And now, we begin something new." The Valeri scientists were stunned into silence. Their instruments confirmed what their eyes had seen. The hybrid child was alive, perfectly formed, and stable. It was small, yes, but its life force was strong, a fusion of human adaptability and Valeri energy. The impossible had become reality, and no one could deny it. Outside the palace, whispers grew louder. Some nobles feared the implications, questioning how humans could now change the Valeri future. Others marveled, seeing the hybrid child as proof that evolution was not fixed, that life could adapt in ways even the oldest species could not predict. The Council of Elders debated fiercely, some demanding that the child be studied, others insisting that it be protected as a symbol of hope. Inside the palace, Ethan and Lixara focused on the child, its tiny fingers grasped instinctively, its eyes flickering open with awareness. Ethan felt a surge of emotion he had never known before. Pride, awe, and a quiet promise to protect this life no matter the cost. "Human," Lixara said softly, placing a hand on his arm. "This child, it represents more than survival. It is a bridge, a connection between your people and mine. The universe has given us a chance to change everything, but we must protect it." "There are those who will not understand," Ethan nodded firmly. "I will protect it, Your Majesty. Whatever comes. I have survived before, and I will endure again. This child is life itself, and I will not let it fall to fear or hate." As the days passed, the palace adjusted to the presence of the hybrid child. Valari scientists continued to monitor it, noting its rapid growth and remarkable intelligence. Even at an early stage, it displayed abilities beyond human or Valari norms. Its senses were sharp, its energy field resonant, and it responded to both human and Valari presence with instinctive understanding. The Queen, once skeptical of humans, now treated Ethan and the child with a mix of reverence and respect. She had witnessed the impossible, and it had changed her. The bond she shared with Ethan had transformed from curiosity to deep trust, and she understood that humans were capable of far more than Valari history had ever recorded. Outside the palace, tensions among the nobles began to rise. Some feared that the child represented a shift in power, a new order that could challenge traditional Valari dominance. Others saw the child as hope, proof that adaptation and cooperation could strengthen their species. Arguments turned into debates, debates into near riots, and the council had to intervene to maintain order. Ethan remained calm, focusing on the child and its well-being. He spent hours with it, speaking softly, teaching, and observing. He marveled at its abilities and felt a quiet pride that humans, despite being small and underestimated, could play a role in shaping the galaxy. Queen Lixara often joined him, watching the child grow, observing its responses and speaking softly to Ethan. The bond between them had deepened, now built on trust, shared experience, and the understanding that the impossible had happened through their connection. One day a council elder approached, speaking carefully. "Queen Lixara," he said, "the humans have proven themselves capable in ways we did not expect. This child, it is living proof. The universe itself has favored your judgment. We recognize that humanity may now have a place among the stars, not as servants, not as soldiers, but as catalysts for change." Lixara's golden eyes softened. She glanced at Ethan, then at the child. "Thank you," she said quietly. "The impossible has been achieved. Humanity has endured, adapted, and changed the course of life itself. We will protect this child and honor what it represents." Ethan felt a wave of relief and pride. Humans had always been underestimated, dismissed as fragile, weak, and insignificant. Yet here they were, capable of surviving impossible odds and creating life with one of the oldest, most powerful species in the galaxy. As the days turned into weeks, the hybrid child grew steadily. Its intelligence and awareness developed quickly, and it responded to both Valari and human teaching. Scientists recorded its abilities, documenting what they called a breakthrough in galactic evolution. The palace was filled with a quiet energy, a sense of hope and wonder that spread even to those who had doubted. Ethan stood in the palace gardens one evening, holding the child in his arms. Queen Lixara approached, placing her hand gently on his shoulder. They watched the soft glow of Valera's sky together, feeling the quiet hum of life around them. Valeri's scientists had him running through procedures that felt endless, scanning him for compatibility, testing every reaction of his body, and measuring everything from his heart rate to his smallest cellular functions. Every test confirmed what they had always believed. Humans were fragile, simple, and biologically incompatible with Valari. Yet for reasons no could explain, Ethan's presence seemed to change things, even if just slightly. He noticed it first when the Queen called him again, not in the grand throne room, but in a small observation chamber filled with soft light. The walls glowed faintly, and the air smelled faintly of jasmine, something that was unfamiliar to Ethan. He stepped forward cautiously, bowing slightly as the Queen sat waiting. "Human," Lixara said, her golden eyes bright with curiosity. "You continue to survive even as others fail. Your body, your mind, there is something unusual about you. Tell me, do you feel different here than you do on your world?" Ethan thought about it. He had felt a little stronger, a little sharper, and strangely calmer than he had ever been on Earth. I do, Your Majesty," he said slowly. "I feel more aware, more alert. Sometimes I feel like I can understand things better, see patterns I could not before." Lixara leaned forward, resting her chin on her hands. "Interesting," she said. "Your species is known for survival, yes, but this is unexpected. Perhaps you are not like other humans." "Perhaps you are special." Ethan felt a small thrill at her words. He had survived harsh worlds and impossible conditions before, but never had he imagined a queen calling him special. Still, he kept his composure. He had learned quickly that showing too much emotion on Velora could be dangerous. Over the next few days, Ethan noticed other changes. Small things at first. His wounds healed faster than usual,